So, this happened a few years ago, and honestly, I still get chills thinking about how I pulled it off. I grew up in a seriously messed up household. My dad was this low-level drug dealer who was into all kinds of shady stuff, and my mom was a recovering alcoholic but barely functional. Home life was a nightmare, and to top it off, by the time I was 18, I was ready to ghost all of them. I managed to get a full-time job at a shitty diner and was scraping by with barely enough to pay rent. But what really helped me was when I stumbled onto something that completely blew the system wide open. Our town had this emergency rental assistance program for people affected by economic struggles, which, well, technically I qualified for, but the catch was, you had to prove you lost income due to the pandemic or something. I honestly hadn't lost income, just barely surviving as it was, but I decided to fake some documents I managed to get my hands on in the diner's Dumpstera pay stub someone tossed with their name blacked out. I replaced the name with mine using Photoshop on my shitty laptop and just winged it. I applied online and, shocker, got approved. I started receiving checks for rent assistance in my name. I felt like a total criminal, but honestly, the thought of finally moving the hell out of my toxic house made me feel fucking alive. Here's where it gets good. My brother found out I was scamming the system and started threatening to blow my cover unless I gave him a cut. The prick was always 2 steps behind. He'd snort some coke, rant about how life owed him everything, then threaten to rat me out. I blocked him everywhere, but it all felt too risky. That's when I cooked up the masterstroke. In the $4,000 I got from that assistance, I rented a tiny rundown storage unit under a fake name, using an ID I copied from some online template. There, I hid away a bunch of cash I'd been slowly stashing for my job, plus small amounts of weed and some cashier's checks. I managed to fake with information. They were pissed, but couldn't do shit. But here's where it gets juicy. I contacted a sketchy acquaintance from the diner who was deeply involved in some petty criminal shit. Nothing major, but enough to draw heat. I volunteered him as the guy who was behind the rental assistance scam, falsifying documents, and all. The guy got arrested, and the cops quickly lost interest in me since the trail went cold. That exposure basically blew up my brother's drug circle. He was arrested soon after for dealing, and my dad got busted a week later for possession with intent. Seeing them fall apart from the outside while I was safe, with a clean slate and enough money saved to move. Fast forward a few weeks, and I'm living in a cheap apartment, working a steady job and getting a legit education while my worst nightmares are rotting in jail or rehab. The system I beat was dirty, but sometimes you have to get dirty to survive. So yeah, I totally beat the system. And it felt damn good.